राजनीति की, और उसमें बातचीत कई बार ऐसी जगह पहुंच जाती है जहां लगता है कि बात हो रही है पर आगे बढ़ नहीं रही है. Whereas when we look at life, a great gift of breathing, understanding, learning, connecting, receiving and offering that which is in us makes it meaningful. And if I take the words of Swami Vivekananda about education, he said education is the manifestation of the perfection already in man. So we are told that we all are perfect, but do we feel that perfection? How we connect with ourselves probably has something to do with the education. And the kind of education that we see is being imparted to us as we grow, whether we are in America or India or Pakistan or any other country, there are people who have excelled academically, and then we have found them lacking at the right time, and their conduct has been questionable, which has led them to the places which we say are behind the bars. So who is it that we may consider as our role model? That question also takes us to the corridor of education, and today we are trying to understand what is it that we can refer to as wholesome education. Education in totality, how it helps us in seeing and bringing out the best in us. So with that in mind, we thought it would be proper to have kids with us. So taking the advantage of this week when they are away from their school, I have the pleasure of the presence of Yash with me today in the studio. Yash ji, aapko namaskar hai. Welcome. So, thank you. And then I also have Jeevan Ramesh, who is smiling slightly, and with the smile he also teaches yoga. So what is it that he is doing? We'll find out more from him. But I have also the pleasure of the presence of Pragna ji with us in the studio, and then Bhavesh ji. So Bhavesh ji and Pragna ji, as well as both of them, are also learning in addition to their professional and educational institutions under the umbrella of an organization which was founded by Sri Ram Sharma Acharya ji, if I may say that, and there are numerous books that talks about his vision. And Akhil Bharatiya, actually All World Global Gayatri Parivar also exists, which has branches across the world in many countries. So I will begin by requesting Bhavesh ji to give us summary of the vision of Sri Ram Sharma Acharya. And allow me to say that this guy is only 25, but when he talks you feel that he has seen more years than what appears to be the case. So I also wanted to show this book, which is My Life, Its Legacy and Message. So Bhavesh, tell us something about the legacy word as it's used by Sri Ram Sharma Acharya ji.
So if you look at his life, the whole movement that he started, it was called the Yug Nirman Yojana. And Yug Nirman Yojana means that he's committed to bring change in the complete world. And this might sound very hypothetical or impractical, but he has laid a very clear foundation. And the movement started in the 20th century in a very small village in India. And then it expands globally, and then we see its branches all over the country today. But the main mantra or the main essence of this whole movement, of this or the manifestation of the change that he saw was simple: to change yourself. So he said, "Hum badlenge, yug badlega. Hum sudhrenge, yug sudhrega." If you change, then the world will be changed. If you reform, then the world will be reformed. So in this world, when we watch and see today people putting fingers on others and telling them what you need to change, what are the defects within you, what are the problems within you, he just reversed the whole process. And in his very simple terms, he said, "Main ulte ko ulat dunga." If something is inverted, what we need to do is just invert the inverted and it would become straight. So he said, if you think that something is wrong within you, then just invert it. Make it go towards the positive side and keep changing yourself. He said this is an infinite process. For the worldly affairs, you can quote it and say that, yes, you keep changing your habits, you keep changing for a certain time span. But if you look at the spiritual world, they say that you keep changing until you meet perfection. So he said that if each man keeps changing, improving, then slowly and slowly he would become divine. He would be none other but walking devatas on this earth. And there are certain terms that are coined in the 20th century by Pandit Sri Ram Sharma Acharya. And I wish there is someday a vocabulary of the terminologies that he coined. But the one word that he mentions in his book, it's called Bhusur. Bhusur. And by that he means that I wish to see devatas walking on this earth.
Wow.
And the simple formula is change yourself.
Change yourself. Very simple. Just two words appearing like a mantra. Change yourself. But are we prepared to change? How this process starts in us? Let us find out from none other than Yash. So Yash, first of all, leaving aside what Bhavesh ji said, do you think there is a need to change consciously? And if I may ask you, sometimes your mother, your father, or some teachers want you to change. How do you look at that situation?
Well, firstly, change, it's needed, and we should always do it, because you need to adapt to the situation. And the way that people teach me things, I constantly have to change it to make it easier for myself. And so change is kind of a way to bring about simplicity into lifestyles. So if we change, we could make everything simpler and better.
That's beautiful, actually. And taking that beauty towards Jeevan now, change. You must have seen that some people find it very difficult if something or some instructions are given to them. They would be very rigid and very adamant. They don't want anybody to tell them how to do. And that you would consider their emphasis on being free. So that sense of independence, which in some way we appreciate also, comes into conflict with obeying certain instructions at times. Did you come across this kind of conflict?
Well, I was always taught that change at first may not seem as something favorable. I mean, we shouldn't change our personalities to suit someone else, but instead we should use change to always improve ourselves, always go a next step. As in, we should never settle for what we have. We should always want to always move forward, always push through where we are right now, and always not only change ourselves, but by changing ourselves, we're also changing others around you, sort of inspiring others.
So as Bhavesh said, "Hum badlenge, yug badlega." So we bring about a change by changing ourselves. Now, changing the direction and going to Pragna ji. When we send our kids to school, somewhere at the back of our mind, we are looking at positive changes to come about in them. But many times you must have experienced it or not, but you definitely must be aware that we end up finding kids getting into trouble sometimes at school. And sometimes they come back and parents feel that, oh, he's not responding to my warmth. He's not turning out to be as sensitive a human being as I want him or her to be. So what is it that you feel is missing out in our curriculum, whether here or in any other country?
I feel that in present times, I think I would say that compassion is going away from children. I feel that, the society as a whole, we are moving away. I think what used to bother somebody maybe 100 years ago, these days children or the parents don't feel that that's as important. But I feel like compassion in children is the most important thing that would stop them from doing the wrong things in the first place, but it would also shape their life in a better way. Just to give you an example, children, if they're crushing a little ant, I'm a teacher myself in the public school, and my children now know to respect every life. And right away at home, they see that parents would crush an ant, they would crush a bug, and there is no compassion. And then that's how they act towards their peers and adults. But if you bring awareness in them, that just like every life is precious on this planet. They all know, Miss Patel, let's just pick this up and put him outside in his nature where he belongs. And I tell them that that's their house. We are invading in their house by building our own houses. But that compassion would really solve so many of the world's problems, what we call Wholesome. And that's what's missing in our children today. And unfortunately, education has become where you have to, fulfill all your core curriculum that is assigned by the, state, and you are busy doing that rather than really focusing.
You bring a very important point, and I will come back to you, but I wanted Bhavesh's input on how compassion can be conveyed or transferred. Looks like it should come from within. So do you see the environment which kids are exposed to in the academic setting do not have enough provision where compassion would grow within them, or it is there? And so what would be your interpretation?
Sure. So as how I understand this, the kids go much later to school, and we forget the fact that they watch, observe, and learn a lot in the first 3 to 4 years of their lifespan, where they see their own parents, their family members, and everyone. And compassion is the sole essence of your nature, but it's lost in this process. And I feel like the seeds need to be sown, like how it is said that you must do guno ki kheti. You should do a farming of good values. But when you sow a seed, it constantly needs fertilizer and water and sunshine. Just sowing is not sufficient, and that's why the process of reminding the kids has to be constantly done. It is not like a lecture which is given in a year and then you expect the kids to grow. It has to be done every day, because mistakes are done, they're again rectified. Mistakes are done, they're again rectified. I think the most important key where a compassion can be built in is that sometimes we start thinking that we need to see a homeless to develop that pain within. Or we need to see an animal who is very thin and slim and malnourished to feel that pain. And I do not agree with it. I think the compassion starts at home, where at the small age, if you educate the child that, look at your mother. She's coming back from home, she's tired. She's very tired, she has to work hard. Can you give her a glass of water? The child understands the tiredness, the pain. Compassion begins when you teach your child that, look at your grandfather, he has trouble in his legs. Can you give him a hand to move? He cannot walk as you can walk fast. So when the child understands the pain of his near and dear ones and starts developing such small habits, then they are never gone. These are small seeds. He might reject at the first instant, he might accept it, but this process needs to go on. So this compassion can very well begin at home. And once this develops in the child, no matter wherever he goes in this world, and be it a human, a plant, or an animal, he will always learn to feel the pain. He will always learn to have a different angle to look at his life and understand, what is that I can do? Is he in trouble? And I think it starts at a very, very young age. And one must try to inculcate these things within the family. Like, it is the responsibility of the father to convey the pain of the mother. It is a responsibility of the mother to explain how tough the life of your father is and how little can you contribute to help him. So
I think that's a very, very important point, and it is relevant for one and all. So the way you groom these sensitive response mechanism in them is by making them aware about the other family members. Now, talking about compassion, talking about kindness, and going towards Yash, back to you. who do you think has been most kind in your life in terms of what you observed? Maybe not directly for you, maybe he or she did something for someone and you felt that, oh, that was beautiful, that was really kind.
My grandma, like she really cares for our family, and like if I ask her for something, she'll like drop what she's doing and like come over to help me, and like she always like does things for like everyone. Even when she was in India, like she would like help the neighbors and like really like cheer everyone up. So she would have to be the one person.
So for you, Jeevan, the question is different. There are some people who you see manifesting kindness, and there are some who don't. So if you are one of those who are always kind and you come across people who are unkind, then how do you reconcile with their presence? And have you been in such sort of situation, maybe with your friends in school or in some other setting?
So the question is, have I ever encountered someone
who is not kind?
Who is not kind? Their unkindness should not affect how I behave. So just because they are unkind, that doesn't mean I should stoop down to their level and sort of share that unkindness behavior. What I should do is I should share my own kindness, and maybe they'll probably take it with a grain of salt, but they'll see how they don't have to be angry all the time. Sometimes they'll get affected by my kindness and will want to share that themselves. So I think it's important to always, no matter who or what you encounter, you should always remember who you are, and if you're kind, you should always present it to others.
That calls for some claps, and with that, or rather a couple of claps from you also joining my claps to appreciate what he just said. And it's very important yet very difficult to always remember who you really are, and then not to react with unkindness to someone who has been unkind to you demands a lot of strength. And are we getting that strength in our education? We'll talk about that right after this break.
To advertise in this show, please call 347-653-1309.
Santoshi Mata Astrology Center presents Pandit Ram Prasad. He can accurately predict your past, present, and future. He specializes in bringing your loved ones back and getting rid of black magic, obeya, and evil spirits. Consult for problems related to love, marriage, job, business, marital issues, or sexual problems. Call now on 347-220-5384 or visit 13111 Liberty Avenue, Richmond Hills.
When considering where to host your wedding banquet or party, consider the Lafayette Yard Hotel, conveniently located in central New Jersey. The Lafayette Yard Hotel offers a beautifully appointed grand ballroom with seating for up to 400 people and over 150 guest rooms, including 4 suites and ample, safe, enclosed parking in the adjacent garage. The Lafayette is truly your best choice. Call Ibrahim at 404-491-5674 or 609-421-4000 and make an appointment today.
Spirituality is the medium which frees our mind of all emotional shackles and temptations and guides us towards enlightenment and peace. Himali Spiritual Center is the gateway to liberation from pain, misery, and suffering. Here, through religion, meditation, yoga, worship, and gem therapy, all troubles are treated. Himali Spiritual Center, 718-887-2929.
Your eyes are the windows to your world. Trust your eyes to Malik Eye Care. This is where ophthalmology, optometry, and opticianry join under one roof to meet all your vision needs. Our offices house a plethora of state-of-the-art lasers and diagnostic equipment. I'm a board-certified ophthalmologist and a member of the American Academy of Ophthalmology, and also a fellow of the American College of Physicians and Surgeons. I've done thousands of ocular surgeries to restore vision to many patients. Consult our offices to see how we can improve your vision. We look forward to seeing you at your next appointment.
Shri Durga Mata, astrologer and palm reader, world famous astrologer Pandit Baba Sai Ram is in New York. Pandit predicts past, present and future. Intending person can inquire about education, love, marriage, husband and wife problems, children, health, court case and many other personal problems. Pandit can bring the loved ones back, and also he is a specialist in removal of black magic and evil spirits. Call for appointment. Jackson Heights, Queens, New York. Mobile number 646-517-8368, 347-657-3822.
पुनः आपको नमस्कार है और स्वागत है इनसाइट टुनाइट विद अशोक व्यास में। आज के कार्यक्रम में हम बात कर रहे हैं होलसम एजुकेशन की। वो क्या संपूर्ण शिक्षा है जिसको लेके हम अपने जीवन को धन्य मान सकते हैं। हम वहाँ पहुँच सकते हैं जहाँ हमें कोई हमारी प्रसन्नता से अलग न कर सके। हम लोग जब स्कूल जाते हैं और धीरे धीरे बड़े होते होते अच्छे अच्छे ग्रेड्स की दौड़ करते करते फिर वहाँ पहुँच जाते हैं जहाँ हमारे सामने ये लक्ष्य रहता है कि हाउ टू मेक मनी एंड मोर मनी एंड मोर मनी एंड देन रन आफ्टर द बेस्ट पॉसिबल गिफ्ट्स दैट टेक्नोलॉजी इज ऑफरिंग. So there is a rhythm of, and there is a movement which is becoming a part of our lives without opening up that sense of fulfillment for us. So today, as we are talking to Bhavesh, Pragna, Yash and Jeevan, Ramesh, I go back to you, Bhavesh, with this question. When we say complete growth, what is it that we mean by this term in the light of what you have read from sages and scriptures, as well as your own experience has taught you, as you see a kid and you wish that he should grow fully. So what is it that you are putting there in that basket of growth?
So for the complete growth, we do not reject the education that you get in the schools. That is very much required to be in the world, to be knowledgeable, and to have all the information. Let me take a very simple example. We developed engineering. These technologies can be very well used in both the directions. Just as we know, there are two sides of the same coin. There are pros as well as there are cons. This technology can be used to make things better in the world, and the same technology can also be used to develop arms and ammunitions. So it is the same engineer, probably the same school, the same university, probably the children from the same country, from the same background, but what makes that decision, that small gap, is what is within. And the withinness decides a lot of factors in their life. So when we talk about wholesome education, it means the information that you get in the schools definitely helps you develop, make money, get a degree, get a job, survive. But life is not just about going to work and coming back and everything getting perfect. And we all know there are a lot of hurdles, a lot of challenges, a lot of principle-oriented, distinguished thoughts in the society. And that is where sometimes you need to take a stand. And for that stand, just as Pragna said, it's compassion. But along with that, I would add one thing, and that is farsightedness, durdarshita, the vivek, to differentiate between the good and the bad. And how this happens is by short stories, by live examples, by constant teaching. So when we talk about the complete education, and as you mentioned about the books and the sages, I think they all summarize it in this way. That from outside, if you develop the information perspective, from the within, it should be compassion and durdarshita, farsightedness.
Farsightedness and school and the workload with which you come back from school. So Yash, looking at your typical day, do you look back at night as to what did I learn today? Or you just let the day go by and move to next day?
Well, I think it's necessary, and you have to really reflect on your day to change as a person and develop compassion and farsightedness. and so you have to change. So like doing that is like a way of changing from within. And if you change from within, like as he said, you could like also like affect other people. So you have to, it's like you need to do it to like be successful in life. So you have to reflect on your day and think about what happened.
Wonderful. So, talking about your habits, Jeevan, habits that you feel are helping you stay happy, what would you consider is the top one thing that you do every day which helps you in remembering who you truly are?
Well, this habit began as a child. My parents taught me how to, they taught me how to light the lamp and do puja every day as a child, and it was sort of a reminder to who I was. And at first, when I was younger, I was a bit confused. I was like, no one in school would light the lamp or sing bhajans or prayers. But then, as time went on, it was sort of an identity. As a Hindu, I am doing this, and it's one thing that makes me happy to realize that I'm a part of this great race and religion.
Wonderful. And now this identity, it is important, and at the same time, sometimes this identity, when it comes into conflict with someone else's identity, may take away that sense of harmony. You hopefully might have not come across that situation, but since we are away from the native land, there are cultural differences sometimes. Have you ever felt that it is difficult to explain to others about your culture, about what you believe in, and stay with peace and harmony with others?
Yes, of course. In school, there's many stereotypes built by the media and everything, and it's a bit hard to explain to kids in school or outside about Hinduism and what we do. But there are two types of people: people who are understanding and they accept it, and then there's people who are ignorant. They won't really care for what you're saying. They're just built around their own ideas. And sometimes they try to bring you down, and you just don't associate yourself with those people, or you try to explain and get them to the right way of thinking. And if that doesn't work, then it's just a way of life. You're going to meet people who aren't always going to go your way. So that's one thing.
So you have to learn to deal with the differences in a way which is as effective as Jeevan just mentioned. And before I go towards Bhavesh, I want Yash to tell me, what is it that makes you most happy?
What makes me most happy is like going to the temple and like helping do like seva and like projects to like benefit the community. Like a week ago, like we did a tree plantation, and like after doing that, like I felt so like happy and encouraged to do more for the community. And like every single time we do that, like whenever we have a big project, I always feel like warm inside, and I want to do more. So yeah.
That's amazing actually, and it's very difficult to understand and comprehend where he's coming from for many of us who really feel and think that doing anything other than that which serves my interest directly is wastage of time. So these ideas, how they become part of some individuals and how some individuals stay away from these ideas. Let me request Bhavesh to share the significance, importance of service, seva. How one is to realize what he just shared in simple words, that it makes you happy. It just happens with some people, or there is a way that might help others see this point of view?
I think I would start a little bit of a very nice word which is coined again by Pandit Shri Ram Sharma Acharya. He calls it Vaigyanik Adhyatmavad, scientific spirituality. And by that he means that spirituality can be scientific, and that means it can be replicated. By replication, what he tries to say is a normal man who probably seems like nothing can develop his virtues and qualities to become someone as big as a saint or as great as a god. And then when you develop that attributes within you, and how we all know that the same God lies in all of us, and not just the human beings, the plants and the bugs and the animals and everyone. You try to serve that God which is living in front of you. By this, I'm not rejecting the idol worship, or I'm not rejecting any other forms of worship. They're all equally important. But then we need to love this God, which is life, which is in front of us, which is giving us the opportunity to feed them, to take care of them, or the environment, which is the creation of God. So serving God or worshiping God is not just happening within the four walls of the temples, but one that serves the real God outside is the true worshipper. And then when you do that actually in practice, this actually quenches your thirst within, which is the thirst of the soul. And that's why anyone who gets into any type of seva, any type of service-related projects, he always has a very beautiful sleep at night. He's so happy, so peaceful, and feels satisfied, because I think the inner soul asks for it again and again, and it needs it.
What we need is positive ideas, and when we hear something which makes us feel good about ourselves, that makes us happy. But the way technology is surrounding us nowadays, it is very difficult to get the right kind of attention even from your own kids, even on the dining table. So when you're talking about these kind of ideas, there is introspection, yet it is a different kind of introspection, because it is the screen, either of iPad or your smartphone, or maybe just a computer screen with some moving images of a computer game that is pulling kids away. That is a complaint from many parents. Now, Pragya, you are working with kids in school and on weekends also. How do you see this thing affecting their ability to respond to these kind of ideas, even the kind of ideas that Yash and Jeevan share?
I totally agree with you, because technology has taken over pretty much our lives right now. And I think the first thing is, again, I would say the parents themselves. We are on technology, using all those things. So first we have to say, let's create some rules in our house. And, you yourself are going to restrict your use of technology that much in your house. And what helps a lot, and we recommend to the parents and everybody else, is that have them go to limited sites that you control. And again, technology can be used, like Bhavesh was saying, in a meaningful way. So there are many wonderful sites and wonderful videos that you should expose your children. But at the same time, there should be time limit on it. And then there should be more of family time. And I find that prayer is one way that in my family has worked. And we encourage all the children in our Bal Sanskar Shala that we run. And we also have a web swadhyay. So we are using technology in the right way. So every Thursday we meet as a whole school. There are 180 children, and all their families get on this website. And we do the 25-minute, different, like a bhajan, Gayatri mantra. We do Om, chanting of Om, and Nad Yog together as a whole school. So, and the project is that they are going to reflect on it, see how much changes they have seen just by family being sitting together and reaching out to something we all have a need of, and that's like your spiritual growth. And this way parents are setting good examples for the children, and the children feel part of the family, and then they would not go to technology too much. Some of the children themselves says, Mom, it's already 8 o'clock, let's get on it. And they remind their parents that today's Thursday, we have to get on it. So I feel that if we are more conscious and encourage our children to get into seva, because our children do many community service and parents are involved with them. So this way, parents and family, it becomes like a family thing you do together. And they're not even realizing that they haven't used their cell phone today for the entire day. But these are the things that parents have to consciously try. And even in our Bal Sanskar Shala that we run, all these children come up with their projects on themselves. Like Jeevan here, he volunteers to be a yoga instructor, and managing 180 students is not an easy job, but he does it wonderfully. But that comes from within, and the parents encouraging him to come there. They drive him every day, every Sunday to come there. So I feel like if the parents and the community work together, it's like, raising a child. It's the responsibility of the whole village kind of thing. And all of us working together, we can definitely help our children move away from technology. I mean, technology is not going away, so we have to let them have some exposure to it, because otherwise they wouldn't be able to survive in this world. But at the same time, family time has to take over, and seva and other outings you do together, enriching experiences for your children is very helpful.
Very, very helpful tips. So if they are happy being a part of the family, participating in some collective activity which makes everyone feel good about him or her in the family, that is a big plus, and that definitely would keep technology at an arm's length. But these ideas, how kids look at them, we'll find out from Yash and Jeevan right here in our studio right after this break.
To advertise in this show, please call 347-653-1309.
Spirituality is the medium which frees our mind of all emotional shackles and temptations and guides us towards enlightenment and peace. Himalayan Spiritual Center is the gateway to liberation from pain, misery, and suffering. Here, through religion, meditation, yoga, worship, and gem therapy, all troubles are treated. Himalayan Spiritual Center, 718-887-2929.
When considering where to host your wedding banquet or party, consider the Lafayette Yard Hotel, conveniently located in central New Jersey. The Lafayette Yard Hotel offers a beautifully appointed grand ballroom with seating for up to 400 people and over 150 guest rooms, including 4 suites and ample, safe, enclosed parking in the adjacent garage. The Lafayette is truly your best choice. Call Ibrahim at 404-491-5674 or 609-421-4000 and make an appointment today.
Santoshi Mata Astrology Center presents Pandit Ram Prasad. He can accurately predict your past, present, and future. He specializes in bringing your loved ones back and getting rid of black magic, obeya, and evil spirits. Consult for problems related to love, marriage, job, business, marital issues, or sexual problems. Call now on 347-220-5384 or visit 13111 Liberty Avenue, Richmond Hills.
I am your immigration attorney, Michael Fulwani.
And I'm your immigration attorney, David Nachman.
Keep watching us, our program on immigration and you.
For the latest information, updates, and developments about immigration law.
Every Saturday at 8:15 p.m.
And wake up to us on Sunday at 11:45 a.m.
Consult Swami Manjiji for accurate horoscope reading, palm reading, and likelihood of love, marriage, children, business, health, immigration, and court cases. Swamiji removes black magic, gives protection and helps in removing various problems by powerful holy mantras and meditation on God. Free check of black magic. Excellent results. Call 718-358-2901. The number again, 718-358-2901.
Welcome back to Inside Tonight with Ashok Vyas. आज हम बात कर रहे हैं wholesome education की, and just before this break we were talking about how technology is taking away our attention and bringing us to that isolation which we sometimes don't even realize. But now looking at your friends, the way they connect with technology, Yash, do you find it difficult sometimes when your parents tell you to stay away from computer or iPad or whatever smartphone?
Well, it's become like a trend. Like everyone's using it, so you kind of feel like you have to stay connected and like do what everyone else is doing, but at the same time you kind of have to like isolate yourself and not get too exposed to it, because as Bhavesh Bhai said, it could also be harmful in like many ways. So when my parents told me to like limit my use, I listened to their what they say, because I know what the results of social media and the internet could be. So yeah, I listened to them, and yeah.
You are being honest?
Yeah.
Okay. So Jeevan, how to deal with this temptation of going back to Facebook or Twitter or whatever it is that other friends are connected to? Is there any tip that you can share with our young viewers?
How to stay away from social media and technology? I would say you can't go cold turkey and just stop all at once. That's coming from my experience. I think it should start off day by day, maybe every day 1 hour at least. You should just take all your phones, iPads, like tablets, everything, just put it away and just sit alone, just actually exactly like meditation, just away from everything, no vibration of any alerts or messages. It's amazing, because at first when I attempted to do this, every 2 seconds my hands are at my pockets saying like, oh, I need to check Twitter, I need to check something. But soon you realize that it's just something, it's a materialistic possession. You could survive. It's okay to not go onto your phone every 2 seconds. You walk into any high school or anything, every 2 seconds you'll see teens just looking at their phone. At first I was about to say it's amazing, but it's frightening actually.
But how you realize that you should practice abstaining from technology and you started practicing it?
The more it's an effect, as in like when I was really obsessed with, say, when I got my first phone, and it was an obsession, and it started affecting, say, my grades, say the way I was, say I was talking to my parents or anything. It was just, I realized that this is bad, and I need to change what I'm doing, and slowly, I came to the realization that this isn't supposed to control my life.
So now going towards parents, so Jeevan, I don't know how far 100% truth is there in what he said, but he realized himself. It's very, very impressive. But many times kids don't realize, and parents, of course, quickly realize, so they try to change their kids. And then emerges a problem which stays for a very long time. How to deal with this situation? In your opinion, what is the best way?
The best way from parents' perspective and the children, I think, as I said, we have to monitor their use, but at the same time, technology is not going to go away. So
they are, let us say someone is almost like obsessed.
Yes,
then
so how do you... Then I think as parent you have to take that authority in your hand and say, sorry, this weekend I'll only let you use 1 hour, and then you have to hand over the phone. Sometimes, ek aankh, Gurudev always used to say, you have to give ek aankh pyar ki, you have to take firm steps. If it's impacting your child to that extent, you really have to take that drastic step and say that right now you might not understand, you might not like what I have to do, but as a parent, I can see what the consequences are for that, and I have to take it, and take some drastic steps.
So now that's a very valid way of saying, be firm, take drastic steps, and disciplining or helping them learning to live with discipline is very, very important. But then, Bhaveshji, we are in this era where sometimes some parents are also scared that if the kid reacts in a violent fashion, so how should they have that inner strength to say no?
Well, let me put it this way. I think first of all, in order to understand what can you get without it, you need to have an exposure of it. And let me put it in a little bit like a story. When Bhagwan Buddha met enlightenment, somebody asked him, like, what did you do? Like, what did you get? And he said, I did not get anything. And everyone was surprised, like, how can you not get anything and be such great? And he said, I lost everything. What remained was the happiness. So sometimes what I have experienced is, in order to understand that what more can be done without all these things, you need to go to a place where there is no internet, no phone service, and no television, and then experience the joy of life there. Because until and unless you don't lose it, it doesn't happen. Violent nature of the children, that is very much possible. And it is a very easy reaction when the urge is very strong. And I would say that a violence should never be treated back with violence. The more you get angry on someone, the more you shout on someone, or the more you hit on someone, that hidden urge within that child will spurge more and more. And it would distance the communication between the child and the parent. So that trick or that method never works. What works is love. And it is very slow, and I absolutely understand. But with love, with understanding, and the most important thing, as they say, is patience. You need to wait until your child understands, accepts, and takes it. And it might be smaller steps. And let me put it very simple. I would use a word called trickle in English. It happens trickle by trickle. A chain smoker cannot just stop quitting tomorrow. But let's say if he smokes 10 today, and 9 tomorrow, and 8 day after tomorrow, yes, he's still a smoker, but he's improving. So you need to take smaller steps to lead to that zeroness where you wish to go. But if you suddenly expect somebody to shut things off very next day, then it's a very human nature. The urge would come, or the need would come, and then eruption would happen. So I would say it is okay if it takes 3 months for certain things to achieve. But if it is reducing in time frame, if the usage is reducing slowly and slowly, eventually, yes, we are improving. Though that child is still addicted to something, but yeah, he was addicted for 1 hour, now he does for 30 minutes. It would go down to 0 minutes. It's never far. But love, patience, and the right attitude, a violence with a violence, as Mahatma Gandhi said, an eye for an eye makes the whole world blind. So
we don't want the whole world to go blind, and we don't want darkness to be a part of any family experience. So enlightenment, as Bhavesh mentioned, trickle by trickle, the desired change becomes a part of the personality of either parents or children. But going towards you now, I heard, Jeevan, you are actually helping over 100 kids in doing yoga. First of all, what is it that you call as yoga in your definition?
Yoga, I would say it is when the body and mind both unite as one. And it's yoga, like the Westerners, they would view it as something of an exercise, but we should realize that it's not an exercise. It shouldn't be done fast movements or anything. It's basically, we need to take it slow, posture by posture. And it's hard in this day and age when everything is coming to you everything's coming within a blink of an eye. And then for us to just cut back on time and to slow down is what's really missing in yoga here today.
So I'll talk a little bit more about yoga with you, Jeevan. But yes, tell me if there are some occasions where you're all by yourselves, no phone, nobody to talk to. So have you ever experienced that kind of silence? And if you are ever silent, then what is happening in your mind?
Well, it happens all the time when I go to the doctor's office. So, like, I just sit there and like think about other stuff that I could be doing or that I will do like after, like the period is like gone, and I also like make light of like the small things, like, and also like try to concentrate on other things, like a picture, for example, like I'll like look at the like very last detail of it, and I'll like really like take it all in. So like I just like drift away and like kind of like I kind of go into my like little own universe where I like, yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. So that beauty, Bhavesh, how we connect with our silence plays a very important role in creating our experiences. So is there any thing that you personally find fascinating about relating to silence?
Do you mean to say how do you go into silence, or?
No, how do you connect with the silence? Because, okay, let me bring another side to it. For some people, silence is disturbing because the kind of thought waves that they have, so then they want to get hooked to something else.
I agree. So I think the ability to stay in silence, it also grows slowly. And one must not just shut the door off for 24 hours and decide, I'm going to stay in solitude and not talk to anyone. That's not what we are meant for. We are social animals. And that reminds me, my master, my guru, he humorously used to say that only two people can shut the doors and stay inside. Either he must be mad or he must be a Paramhans. And all of us are neither mad nor Paramhans. We are pretty normal. So the best way to enjoy the silence is to practice meditation, because that is a silence that comes from within and not what is created. The created silence can be a trouble, but the silence from within helps you to keep that bar longer and longer. And in that silence, where you sit with yourself, that's when comes out your inner potential, your inner thoughts, your deep-rooted emotions, your deep-rooted abilities, and the quest that is from within. It only erupts in that silence from within. And I do not recommend or say that you must sit in for long hours. 2 minutes, 1 minute. When you're lying on bed before you sleep and before you wake up in the morning, just a quick glance of your breathing, that's it. Silence with the essence of your breath is sufficient enough to slowly start the process with being yourself. So I would say silence, while you're being with yourself, will never be a noise, never be a trouble.
Silence, being with yourself, brings abundance of beauty, as they say. And with beauty, when we are moving towards last few minutes of this show, I want Pragya to share, when people see things are not happening the way they want, and there are so many news items which are adding to already existing stress and worry, how do you, or how one should sustain hope?
The hope comes from within. And as Bhavesh was saying, I think once you reach spiritually to that God in you or God in the universe, I think you just get this sense of that life has a purpose. I'm somebody that is sent here for a special purpose, and I need to fulfill my goal before I pass on to my next life. And I feel like reading wonderful literature by great saints is like their own company. You know, in these days we don't have too many people left like that, like real role model. But I feel like they're wonderful literature, like Swami Vivekananda. I could read him for hours, and I feel very connected, and I feel blessed that we had saints like that, and their books become our company right now. And that gives us perspective of, you know, what the world should be. And you try in your own ways to strive for that.
Wonderful. So just 1 minute to go, and both of you in 30 seconds tell me, what would be your tip for some of our viewers? Is there anything that helps you in solving your problems?
One tip that I would say is never to make impulsive decisions. Always take a step back, analyze the situation that is ahead of you, and then take it with a clear, cool mind.
Wonderful, very profound. And you, Yash, anything?
I agree with what he says, and I also feel that you shouldn't like be very hasty with your decisions. You should be calm and composed. You should also try to consult with other people, because sometimes their input could really change your views on topics and situations as to how they should be done. So,
wonderful. So I want to clap for the response that we got from both of them, and that really would help in calmly and without any impulses conclude this session of Insight Tonight with Ashok Vyas. Thanking all of them, Bhavesh, Pragna, Yash and Jeevan, and of course all of you for being with us. And there is this sense of totality of life which is available to us right now, right here. Wishing nothing but the best for you. This is Ashok Vyas.